Now moving over to the south side of things. We talked about Tom Brady. A guy that's going to have to try to keep pace with him is Matt Ryan. And I think that's an important phrase to use is keep pace because that's Atlanta's only shot. I'm not sold on their run game. They lost Julio Jones, but they still have Matt Ryan. And their only chance to be in these games is to pass the ball because they're going to go down. Their pass defense hasn't improved drastically. It's not good. We mentioned that earlier in the show. And Matt Ryan's going to have to throw to stay in games. And I think 4,500 yards, he did it last season. And he was actually just short of 4,600. And I think he can get to 4,426 yards this season. Nick, where do you have the Falcons quarterback coming in this year? Obviously lost his best weapon, but as I said, I just think it's a game of him having to keep pace with other teams that are going to put up points against the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone over that total in 8 of the last 9 years. And one of the nice things with Matt Ryan is you really almost never have to worry about injury. At some point, maybe that changes. I mean, he's 35, 36 years old, actually turned 36 in May. So at some point, he's probably going to get hurt late in his career. But he's basically been a 16-game guy from the jump in 2008. You know, he's missed I think he's missed 3 total starts in his entire career. And you talk about a guy you're not necessarily worried about sitting week 17. I don't think the Falcons are in that realm whatsoever. So he's actually someone who I think for sure benefits from this extra game. With that in mind, and given the historical context, and especially the fact that you lose Julio, but Julio basically had played half the games the last couple of years. It hadn't really looked like himself. It's a major loss, but it's maybe not as major of a loss as the name would imply. Mm-hmm. I think he has a good chance to do it again. And you're replacing Julio in that offense with maybe the best tight end prospect ever in Kyle Pitts. You're obviously they play different positions, but it's not like you just lost Julio and added nothing. You still have an elite receiver in Calvin Ridley, who I think at this point is probably better than Julio Jones, which it pains me to say. Julio's been my favorite player for a really long time, non-Jaguars division. But bringing in Kyle Pitts is going to be huge. I think as long as Matt Ryan stays healthy, he probably cruises to this over. And this season plays out pretty much like the last 2 or 3 have for Atlanta, where they're just constantly in dogfights or they're down 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. And Matt Ryan is attempting 48 passes. It just seems like they're going to kind of run it back, and it's going to be probably another 7-10 or 8-9 type of season.